My name is Xiaopeng. I had an online relationship with a wealthy young woman when I was in school. She said she would take me to make a fortune when I graduated. I thought she was joking. But I didn't expect her to really come in a luxury car after graduation to my house and open a small shop in the town, giving me 5,000 yuan a month to help me look after the shop, saying that after I was familiar with the operation, she would get a few large wholesale food stores in the city for me to manage. This small shop has the taste of childhood, selling loose rice, oil, salt, cigarettes, and liquor. But it only sells Wazi cigarettes. I wanted to get some cheap cigarettes to sell in a small town, but there are fewer rich people. But she didn't agree. Anshin also told me she wouldn't directly give me a salary. If I wanted to spend money, I could just spend the money given by customers and just keep the accounts myself. The small shop is open 24 hours. I saw that the night shift during the day was an old woman. She couldn't even open the door properly. The two doors were always open halfway and half closed. I called Aunt Shen, but she told me, don't open the doors all the way. I said the feng shui was good this way, although it's not strange. But I could only nod and agree. I took over the night shift at 8 o'clock. Not long after I took over, the first customer came. It was a young man who wanted a pack of melon seeds. His hands were very dirty. His fingernails were all black. It made me feel very uncomfortable. But what was surprising was that the next few customers were also the same as him. Their fingernails were dirty with black mud. Even the girls were no exception. I wondered if there was a factory working inside that was particularly dirty. A familiar person came in the middle of the night. It was my high school classmate Lin Yuanwen. I didn't expect him to come to me to buy things, and his fingernails were also very dirty. This made me a little strange, because in my memory, she was a very clean girl. Seeing that he was an acquaintance, I couldn't help but ask, old classmate, which factory nearby are you from? He looked at me and then said in surprise, is that Xiaopeng? Is this store where my factory makes clothes yours? Hearing his words, I was even more puzzled. There are several garment factories nearby, but I've never heard of making clothes that can get your fingernails so dirty. But I was too embarrassed to say it. So I replied, it's a friend's. I work here, he suddenly said. Don't work here. There's no future in working in a small store. I just said politely, I'll see how it goes. Smoke less. You don't have to be so polite. I've even learned to smoke. Lin Yeye took out a cigarette and handed me one. Said, it's been a few years. Seeing you doing so poorly, I'll treat you to a cigarette. Then she turned and left. Hearing her words, I was very unhappy. So I lit that cigarette and took a puff. This one puff choked me so much. The taste of this cigarette is so strange. A moldy smell. It's a fake cigarette. Selling fake cigarettes to old classmates. If this gets out, I won't be able to hold my head up in front of my classmates in the future. But Lin Yeye didn't come back to me all night. Soon it was morning, and after handing over to the old woman, I took the money from the counter and went to have breakfast and rest. When I came to work again in the evening, Lin UUHRGN, DHTL NDMBRRDL, LDLMT, MRR but THGRTTTRD, LNUKDN dot, what WRNG WTHTHGRT, T-MIL GED, HRNGTH, 100, LNUDNMKTLL, HJUD MIL THGRTT, HKDM FRGRTTKGN, THRW THGRTTTHRNDD, DNLRNTH TUF FUDNMK, TCUT BRNG, SHDDN NWRM, but D, WH DNU cut URB, WRKNG NLLKTHT UNM, DDNTLUT cut TRD, DHLL, LDNTLR, LL, what UNW cut hurtful, HLKDHTNT, FMLD, when WNHL, UWRTMLTTR, Luckle. DD at GRTU. THRW, would RLLBHMP. You work NNBNTR. UW at FNEGR left R&D. Cut Cuckle. FTRKNG, H turned NDLFT. FTRLTNGTHRWRD. Luth WLTTLNGR. But DDNWNTTBTHRWTHHR. When TWLNT down. But full TRMN. Unl THRM. TH but full TRWLNFRMHDTT. FLT that HLKDLTTLF Melr. But old arm BRWH HW FRWHL. SHLNL but KFGRDT. NTH but full TRLFT. RVDLLFRM on HN. On HNKDM HW work WGNG WTHNRN. HW ma MNW NTTRD. HW ma MN and TH under NW. RLD. Spent 81 yesterday. Now there are still 903 in the counter. Enshin told me. The store doesn't have enough wine. After dawn, take the money from the counter and get 1,000 yuan worth of wine back. The missing money? Let me make it up first. Then take it from the counter later. I just hung up the phone. Then I saw Lindia come back again. I thought he was back to apologize to me. But as soon as he entered the door, he said, "Little fatty, can you treat me? Give me back the money I just gave you." I was very surprised. He spoke so harshly just now. Now he actually wants me to treat him. I held back my anger and returned 65 yuan to him. As a result, he said again, "In the future, when I come to buy things, you treat me every time. Okay?" I saw the opportunity coming. Directly dug a pit. "Old classmate, didn't you say that I am at the bottom of society? Doing a hopeless job? It's not appropriate for me to treat you." Lin Ye paused for a while. In the end, he shamelessly said to me, "Stop nagging. Quickly give me back yesterday's money too. How can you ask for a female classmate's money? So stingy." Hearing his words, I held back a stomach full of anger. Didn't want to argue with him. After returning the money to him, I said, "You buy here in the future." But he said, "As long as you work here, I will come to buy every day. And I'll have you treat me every time. I'll let you be a man." After speaking, he turned around and left directly, making me particularly annoyed. The place to purchase goods is designated by Chini, saying it's opened by his friend. The wholesale price is relatively cheap. However, it is relatively remote in a deserted alley. In the evening, I was on my way back to the small store and met a high school classmate, Ergu. I enthusiastically went up to greet him, and we reminisced about our high school life together. Ergu said, "Xiaopeng, do you still remember Lin Ye from our class? You even chased after her back then. I heard that she dropped out of high school to work in a clothing factory. But the clothing factory caught fire, and she died inside." Hearing this, I said angrily, "When did she pass away? Don't talk nonsense. I saw her yesterday." Ergu looked at me in surprise and said, "What? She didn't die? I heard classmates talking about her before, and I really thought she was dead." Ergu and I chatted for a while longer. Then I went to work at the small store. Before long, Lin Ye came again. When she came over, she brought a few friends with her, and they were all customers I had seen before. "Xiaopeng, get us each a pack of cigarettes. It's on you." She opened her mouth and asked me to treat them, which made me very angry. I grabbed her, pulled her to the back of the small store, and said angrily, "Are you shameless? There are 6 of you. If I treat you, it would cost 390. Why?" Lin Ye said calmly, "You are a man. I am your female classmate. Isn't it normal for you to treat me?" I replied angrily, "You're just a female classmate, not my woman. Why should I pay for you?" Lin Yu looked at me and pondered for a while, suddenly grabbed my hand and placed it on his body. In an instant, I was about to petrify. I only felt her hands were icy cold. Maybe it was because the weather turned cold at night, and it hurt. At this time, she looked at me and said, "You've taken all the advantage. I consider you my woman in my heart. It's your treat." Hearing her words, I looked at her with a blank expression. I returned to the store, my heart filled with shyness. I gave them 6 packs of Wazi cigarettes. I thought that the girl was already like this. If I still refuse, it would hurt the girl's self-esteem too much. After they left, my heart still ached for the valuable cigarettes. I was annoyed and sulking alone. Not long after, that pretty sister came again. Seeing that my face was not right, she asked, "What's wrong with you?" I naturally wouldn't tell her about Lin Yu. So I said, "I feel a little unwell today." I wasn't lying. Starting from noon today, I felt some pain in my stomach. The pretty sister looked at me and asked again, "Are you very afraid of death?" Of course I'm afraid. Who isn't afraid of death? Hearing my words, he stood there for a while, seemed to be thinking, then said, "Forget it. Then I won't buy it." After speaking, she turned and left. When it was almost morning, Shinny called me again. Let me go offer some more toasts. I hadn't taken more than a few steps when I suddenly heard someone calling me. I turned around and realized it was Lin Yu. He was standing under a dark eaves. After I approached, he asked, "Where are you going to get supplies? What kind of money is this for you? Where is the shop's money?" He shook his head and said, "Use your own money to get supplies. Don't use the shop's money. I'm bringing friends tonight. Remember to treat them. Then you don't have to work tomorrow." I said angrily, "Are you sick? Are you taking an inch and wanting a mile? Don't think that just because I touched you, I have to indulge you. That was you forcing me. You must resign and return the money." "Why?" Lin Yu hesitated, remained silent for a moment, and finally said, "When you go to work tonight, secretly wear a small mirror. Whoever buys cigarettes from you, use the mirror to peek at him. Just don't get caught. If you don't do it, I really hate you. I might even hate you. Because you lied to me." I said impatiently, "Okay, I'll listen to you. This time I used my own money for the purchase. I feel like using whose money is the same. Isn't it just going from the left pocket to the right pocket?" After the purchase, I also bought a small mirror to rest. Went to work at night. Before long, that pretty woman came. She came earlier than usual today, and her face looked a little tired. I asked with concern, "What's wrong? You don't look too comfortable?" He replied, "Because I didn't buy cigarettes yesterday." I sighed inwardly. This pretty lady is really addicted to cigarettes. She took it to the handsome guy and lit it right there. After lighting a cigarette, she didn't take a puff, but quietly held the cigarette, watching the smoke linger for a while. He suddenly said, "Handsome guy, I don't want to pay today. Can you treat me to a pack?" I was a little speechless, but still said with a smile, "No problem." The pretty lady was still holding the cigarette without smoking it. He seemed to like just smelling it like that. He gently closed his eyes. I remembered Lin Yu's words, so I took this opportunity to secretly observe with a small mirror. The moment he saw himself in the mirror, my heart was shocked. Her face was not reflected in the mirror. Just as I was surprised, the pretty lady suddenly opened her eyes. He looked at the mirror in my hand and said with a smile, "Don't take pictures. I won't take it to heart. But don't do this to others. They might not let you off." I was about to speak. Suddenly a man entered the store, asked me to get her a pack of 5 yuan cigarettes. I put away the mirror and said, "I'm sorry. I only sell Wazi here." When the man heard my words, he was immediately very unhappy and cursed and said, "Are you sick?" Just like that, a broken small shop only sells Wazi. He got angry and cursed more and more harshly. I got tired of listening. Then he said, "There are still girls here. Don't talk so harshly. You want a cigarette? I'll give you a few. Just don't act like a shrew here." After saying that, I handed him 2 of my cigarettes. He took the cigarettes and said, "Where are the girls here? It's the middle of the night. If any girl dares to run out, I'll teach her a lesson." I especially dislike this guy's foul language. Pointing at the pretty sister, he said, "Such a big girl. Can't you see her shock?" He looked at me and then at the pretty sister next to me. At this time, the pretty sister looked at me with a smile. But the cigarette in her hand slowly rose up. In my shocked eyes, it stretched towards the man's eyes. I was about to speak to stop her, but found that the cigarette strangely passed through the man. I was stunned by the scene. When the man left, he was still muttering, "Where are the girls here?" At this time, the pretty sister smiled at me and said, "Remember, don't mention the money for buying cigarettes." He was still leaving. At this time, I only felt a blank in my head. After a while, Lin Yu came over with those people again, asking me to take the cigarettes and asking me to treat them. I couldn't bear the doubts in my heart. After giving them a few packs of cigarettes, I grabbed Lin Yu's hand and pulled her inside. Lin Yu's hand was still so cold. After entering the house, Lin Yu asked, "Are you coming again tomorrow?" I looked at Lin Yu, mustered up my courage and asked. Rugu said, "Is it true that you died a few years ago?" Hearing my words, Lin Yu was stunned. Then she said, "Is it true? Are you afraid of me?" I shook my head and said, "I'm not afraid. You used to be a very good person. If this news is true, I am very sad for you. But can you tell me what exactly is going on?" I vaguely guessed that both Lin Yu and the pretty elder sister were ghosts. Lin Yu replied, "Did you see that door in your shop? Half open, half acting. This is not for living people. This is Wang Lin's house specially for entertaining the dead. Those who come to buy cigarettes are not living people. Yes. After you buy cigarettes, the fingerprints do not disappear." Before I could finish speaking, Lin Yu suddenly interrupted. "Don't ask anymore. I won't see you again in the future. There's no need to explain so much to you." After speaking, she went out with those friends. The next morning, the old woman came to take over. I stared at the old woman and asked, "Do you know what this store does? Is it for ghosts to buy things?" The old woman replied, "Daytime is not nighttime." I pondered for a while, then asked, "Can I spend the money in this store?" The old woman heard my words and said with a worried expression, "No, absolutely not." I chatted with the old woman for a long time and finally understood the situation. This is a spirit house. As the name suggests, it is a house for entertaining ghosts. It sells incense. That huazi is not a cigarette at all, but incense offered to the ghosts in the sky. Those who died a violent death come here to buy incense. But the money they give is not real money, but money to buy life. This is a good deed. The shop owner usually has the protection of Yin virtue and has a prosperous fortune. This thing of life-buying money is not to be touched. Shop owners usually leave the life-buying money untouched and enshrined. Whoever spends this life-buying money, it will shorten their lifespan. And after spending a certain amount, they will be trapped in the ghost house forever after death, forever serving the nearby ghosts, never to leave me again. I thought I was lucky. Wang Lian met a rich woman, but I didn't expect that she wanted me to stay in the ghost house for the rest of my life, and without paying wages. Now I finally understand why Lin Yu bought cigarettes. Why wouldn't she repay the money? She wanted to save me. I asked the old woman, without this ghost house, what would happen to those ghosts? The old woman told me, people who die with hatred have deep resentment, usually unwilling to return to their homes. They repeat the pain of their death every day, suffering torture, only by receiving incense offerings. Can they feel better? I felt a pang of sympathy. That is to say, without incense offerings, Lin Yu will day after day, year after year, repeat the pain of being burned to death. Just then, Enchen called me again. On the phone, Suhan asked with concern and asked me to propose a toast again. After I calmly agreed to Aunt Chin's request, I asked the old woman again. The last question. Aunt Chin said, "This shop will be mine in the future. We are actually in a relationship. Do you know how to change the owner of this ghost house?" The old woman pointed to the ground under the counter and said, "When renovating, you have to bury a box under the incense burner. The box contains the name and date of birth of the shop owner. If you want to change the owner, then you have to let the owner write an exchange contract. Then sign and put their fingerprint on it along with the new owner's name and date of birth together. Today I paid for the alcohol out of my own pocket. After coming back, I didn't rest, but hid in the alley, secretly observing this undead house. Around noon, the wholesale man entered the store, and when he came out, he was carrying the 2 cases of wine I bought today. It was all a trap. Aunt Chen and this man are in cahoots, using these few cases of wine to make me spend the money on the platform where ghosts buy cigarettes. I followed him all the way to his shop and found him hugging and kissing Aunt Chen in the shop, taking advantage of his inattention. I secretly went over and hit him, knocking him unconscious, then roared at Aunt Chen. "You despicable person. You want to harm me. I won't let you get away with it either." After saying that, I grabbed him and lifted him up and headed to the small woods behind the town. This small woods next to it is a messy graveyard, usually rarely visited. When I got to the small woods, I gave Aunt Chen a beating. Even the front teeth were kicked out, and one nose was bleeding. Aunt Chen knelt on the ground, relentlessly begging me for mercy, saying that she was blinded by Prophet, and asked me not to bother with her because of our past relationship. Looking at her embarrassed appearance, I sneered and said, "You want me to die? I won't let you have a good time either." After saying that, I no longer paid attention to her. Soon it got dark. I took Enchen to the small store and said coldly, "Give me the necromancer. A person like you doesn't deserve the protection of Yin virtue. If I don't do this, even if I escape safely from here, you will harm other people." After saying that, I threw the pre-written contract to him. Enchen took the contract and looked at it, hesitated for a moment, then wrote his name on it. "This shop is yours now. Can you let me go now?" I stared at him, said coldly, "If I could, I really want to kill you. You are just someone who, for the sake of profit, can kill innocent people. I know if I let you go today, you will probably go to other places to open spirit houses and harm people in the future. But reporting this kind of thing to the police is definitely useless. I can't let you leave until I figure out a solution." Hearing his words, Enchen panicked immediately and said quickly, "Xiaopeng, I was wrong. I will never harm people again. Please let me go. I can't stay in this spirit. There's something in the house looking for me. Please, let me leave. I can give you more money." Hearing his words, I looked puzzled. What does this mean? She is the owner of the spirit house. Why can't she stay here? What about me? I was thinking. Suddenly, there was a barking sound outside. The dogs around the spirit house all barked wildly. After a while, a gust of cold wind blew in from the half-open door. This cold and poisonous light made me shiver. Then a figure slowly floated in. It was that beautiful woman. But she completely lost her previous dignity. Instead, she stared at Aunt Chen with a face full of resentment. When Chinese saw this, was frightened, and shouted at me in fear, "He's here. Take me away quickly. Burn him with fire. Ghosts are afraid of fire. Burn him with fire quickly." I looked at the beautiful woman in front of me. Suddenly remembered why the first time I saw him, I suddenly felt like I had seen him before. He is Chinyi's best friend. I saw a photo of him and Chinyi hugging in Chinyi's moments. I swallowed my saliva and tentatively asked, "Have we met before? Were you also harmed by being bought alive? We are in the same boat, both targeted by him. It's great that you caught him." I continued to ask, "If you were also a victim, what about your necromancer? What about the ghosts you worship? They have already let go of their resentment and reincarnated. But I have become a lonely ghost. My heart is full of resentment. All from this bitch." The beautiful sister became more and more ferocious as she spoke. She suddenly stretched out her hands and suddenly grabbed Chinyi's neck. Seeing this situation, I quickly stopped her. "Don't. Although she deserves to die. If her body stays here, I'm afraid I'll go to jail." The beautiful sister paused her hands, then said, "Then I'll drain her dry and throw her into his grocery store, so it won't involve you." After saying that, the beautiful sister lifted Chinyi into the air and floated her out. I watched helplessly as Chinyi was taken away by the beautiful sister, and sighed, thinking, evil people still need evil ghosts to subdue. At this point, I was considered the owner of the necromancer's house. I carefully put away the wooden box and put it back in the cabinet. Just as I finished putting it down, Lin Yu came in. He saw. I immediately said anxiously, "Why are you still here? I've reasoned with you nicely." "Why won't you listen?" he replied. He said with a smile, "Someone told me. The ghosts here, if no one worships them, will repeat the pain of dying day after day. Old classmate, your affection for me is so deep. How could I mistreat you?" He stared at me blankly. As if he hadn't reacted, I handed him a pack of cigarettes and asked with a smile, "Where does the money to buy life come from ghosts?" He replied, "How can ghosts have money? When you spend it, the next day, others will find that the money has turned into ghost money." I looked at Lin Yuan and said sincerely to him, "Old classmate, thank you. You saved my life. This spirit house is mine now. I want to continue running it with that old woman. She should know how to get incense for you. I'll invite you every night from now on." She burst out laughing, said, "Little fatty, you still want to chase me, don't you? Although you are a good person. But dating someone who runs a small shop is really too low class." After saying that, she left with a smile. "Although this Wanling house belongs to me now, but I also have to live. So I asked my parents for some money and rented the shop next door. Opened a breakfast shop. When watching the shop at night, I make the buns. After selling them in the morning, I go to rest. I don't know if it's my good craftsmanship or if the owner of the spirit house really brings good fortune. Anyway, the business of my breakfast shop is very popular. Lin Yuan would come to chat with me every night to relieve boredom until dawn before leaving. Under my care, she became more and more cheerful, until one day, she said to me with a smile, she had enough of staying in the human world. She's going to reincarnate, and will never come back again. After Lin Yu left, the customers in the small shop also became fewer and fewer, until one night, not a single customer came. I suddenly remembered that beautiful sister back then took Encha away and never came back since. Maybe it was on that day. Her resentment had already been eliminated.